Assata Shakur was born Joanne Deborah Byron on July 16, 1947 in Queens, New York. Raised primarily in North Carolina and later in New York City, Shakur grew up in the shadows of segregation. Her experiences with racism, particularly in the South, shaped her worldview and ignited a passion for justice that she carried throughout her life. As a teenager, she moved back to New York and began attending the Borough of Manhattan Community College and later City College of New York. It was during this time that Shakur became deeply involved with the Black Power movement. She joined the Black Panther Party in the 1960s, drawn to their vision of armed self-defense against police brutality and their push for racial equality. However, as tensions within the party grew and with the increasing surveillance and pressure from law enforcement, Assata shifted to a more militant group, the Black Liberation Army, or BLA. The BLA was an armed resistance movement focused on fighting systemic racism through revolutionary means, attracting attention of both the public as well as the FBI. At the heart of this period, Assata's activism was both a response to and a reflection of the broader civil rights struggles of the era, one where many Black Americans began questioning nonviolent tactics in favor of a more radical path. Everything changed on the night of May 2, 1973. Assata Shakur, along with two companions, Sundiata Akoli and Zaid Malik Shakur, was driving on the New Jersey Turnpike when their car was stopped by state troopers James Harper and Werner Forster. The police say they stopped the vehicle because of a license plate discrepancy, but what happened next remains fiercely disputed. According to the official police account, a confrontation erupted during the stop, leading to an exchange in gunfire. Trooper Forster was killed, 2 bullets from his own service weapon striking him in the head, while Zaid Malik Shakur was also shot dead in the altercation. Trooper Harper was injured, though he survived. However, Assata Shakur's accounts of the events stand in stark contrast. She consistently maintained her innocence, claiming that she had complied with the officer's orders and had not fired any weapons. Instead, she says that after being shot multiple times, including a bullet that nearly severed her arm, she was left in critical condition. She asserts that Trooper Harper fired first, hitting her without provocation. Importantly, forensic tests performed on her showed no gunpowder residue on her hands, undermining the claims that she had discharged a weapon. This discrepancy between the official account and Assata's version has kept the controversy alive. Was Assata a victim of a botched police encounter, or was she an active participant in a violent exchange? The differing testimonies fueled ongoing debates and division in public opinion. After the shooting, Assata was arrested and charged with the murder of Trooper Werner Forster and attempted murder of Trooper Harper, and several other serious crimes. The trial, held in 1977, was a spectacle that would become a flashpoint for wider discussion about race, justice, and the treatment of Black activists in America. The prosecution presented a case based on the testimonies of law enforcement and other witnesses, claiming that Assata had fired the fatal shot at Trooper Forster. Meanwhile, Shakur's defense team argued that the trial was unfairly biased given her political beliefs. She had been a long, outspoken critic of the police, and her involvement in the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army made her a prime target of law enforcement against agencies like the FBI. Many believed that the trial was part of a broader government effort to silence and neutralize Black activists, an effort documented in the FBI's COINTELPRO program, which sought to undermine organizations like the Panthers and the BLA. After a trial marked by these tensions and accusations of unfairness, Assata was convicted of murder in 1977 and sentenced to life in prison plus 33 years for attempted murder and armed robbery. In November of 1979, Assata Shakur pulled off a daring escape from the Clinton Correctional Facility for Women in New Jersey. Members of the Black Liberation Army, using guns to overpower prison guards, helped her break free. She was then driven underground, disappearing from the radar of law enforcement for years. By 1984, Assata reappeared in Cuba, where the Castro regime granted her political asylum. It was in Cuba that she wrote her autobiography, which would go on to become an influential text in activist circles. She was now not only a fugitive, but also a symbol of resistance, especially to those who saw her as a victim of a racially biased justice system. Assata Shakur remains one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives to this day, with a $2 million bounty on her head. Her case, however, didn't stay in the shadows. In 2013, she became the first woman added to the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. But the most high-profile chapter of this saga came in 2017. During his first tenure as president, Donald Trump called for Assata's extradition. Trump, using her birth name, Joanne Chesimard, labeled her a cop killer and demanded her return to the United States to face justice. At the time, Shakur was 69 years old, but Cuba, where she still resides, rejected the request, stating that Assata was granted asylum because she had been a victim of political persecution. The case continues to polarize opinions. Critics, many of them law enforcement supporters, view her as a criminal who got away with murder. Meanwhile, supporters maintain that Assata was a political prisoner who fled to preserve her life and continued fighting for justice as an exile. Her life and legacy continue to ignite debates on racial injustice, police brutality, and the lengths one might go to fight oppression. Her name remains a symbol of defiance to some and a reminder of what can happen when the system targets those who dare speak out. But what do you think? Is Assata Shakur a revolutionary forced into exile, or is she a criminal evading justice? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting, and if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more stories like this. Thanks for watching, and as always, I hope you learned something.